I think most people are misunderstanding AI in exactly the same way that people misunderstood the internet in the late 1990s. Back then, people said, oh, it's useful for emails. And that's what they thought the internet was. Email. Not commerce, not media, not search, not entire industries been rebuilt around it, just email. And I think that we're doing exactly the same with AI now. People think it's good for writing, it's useful for summaries, it helps me write emails. And honestly, that's like looking at electricity and saying, brilliant, I can finally see my living room at night. You're seeing one tiny application and completely missing the infrastructure that's arriving underneath it. Because AI is not simply just another tool, it's becoming a new operating layer, a new way of working, a new way of learning, a new way of making decisions, and a new way of completely building businesses. And whether you realize it or not, over the next decade, the people who understand this will shift and basically think differently, work differently, and create leverage in ways that simply was just never possible before. Let's start here. Most work isn't actually thinking. It's administration disguised as thinking. Checking emails, formatting slides, summarizing notes, updating documents, searching for information, copying things from one place to another. We feel busy, we feel productive, but most of the day is just friction. Imagine a Formula One driver. Do we want them washing the car, checking the tire pressure, or ordering fuel? No, because none of those activities are where the actual value lives. Their value is driving. The same thing is happening with AI. AI is not removing your intelligence, it's removing the friction surrounding your intelligence. And that's an important distinction because suddenly you have got more time for judgment, creativity, strategy, relationships, and decisions. And the things that humans are exceptionally good at. And I think that people get nervous because they assume AI is replacing capability. And I think it's doing something much more interesting. It's exposing where our real capability actually lives. And for many people, that's uncomfortable because if AI can perform 80% of repetitive tasks, what's your actual value? That question isn't scary. It's liberating because it forces you to discover where your highest value work truly exists. For most of human history, knowledge was expensive. Books were rare, experts were rare, access was quite rare. Even 20 years ago, if you wanted to learn something difficult, you bought books, attended courses, spent years finding the right people. And today, you can open Claude and ask, explain venture capital to me like I'm 15 years old, and then explain it to me like I'm starting my first company, then quiz me on it, then challenge my assumptions, then show me some real examples. That would have been absurd 20 years ago. The bottleneck is no longer access to information. The bottleneck is your ability to ask better questions. And that's a profound shift because the advantage now doesn't belong to the person who has the most information. It belongs to the person who can direct intelligence. Now think about that for a second. We're moving into a world where almost everybody has access to extraordinary knowledge, but only a small percentage of people know how to actually orchestrate it. It's like giving everyone a piano. Not everybody will become a musician. The instrument is available. The skill is using it. One of the biggest reasons business owners become overwhelmed is not lack of effort. It's cognitive overload, too many decisions, too many ideas, and too much information. Everything is competing for attention, and our brains are terrible storage devices. The wonderful thinking devices, awful storage devices. Yet we insist on using our heads as almost like filing cabinets. Claude will change that for you, and AI will change that for you, because suddenly you can externalize your thinking. You can brain dump ideas, you can store context, remember conversations, organize information, connect concepts, challenge assumptions, and I do this constantly. I'll take an incredibly messy thought and ask, what am I missing? What's unnecessary? Where's the bottleneck? Where's the simplest path? And suddenly the chaos becomes structure. I think that this is where people start experiencing AI very, very differently. It stops feeling like software and starts feeling like cognitive support. Almost like having another brain sitting beside yours, not replacing your thinking, expanding your capacity to think. That will change everything, guys. Because if your cognitive bandwidth increases, your decisions improve, your communication improves, your execution improves, and your business improves. A few years ago, if you wanted to launch something professionally, you needed people, researchers, designers, writers, analytics, editors, developers. Like now, one person with the right AI workflow can achieve outputs that previously required entire departments. That doesn't mean that teams disappear. It means leverage changes. The cost of execution has collapsed. Solo founders can now research markets, write proposals, build better systems, create presentations, analyze customers, generate content, and launch products faster than ever before. This is why I think AI feels so disruptive. Because it's unreal capability. It's putting extraordinary leverage into ordinary hands. The history shows that whenever leverage becomes accessible, entirely new opportunities will emerge. The internet did this. The smartphone did this. Cloud computer did this. AI is doing it all again. The people who understand leverage early tend to basically speak a little bit disproportionately. This might sound strange, but I think AI is making human skills more valuable, not less. Because when everyone can generate content, clarity matters more. When everyone can create designs, taste matters more. When everyone can access information, judgment matters more. When everyone can automate work, leadership matters more. AI will raise the baseline. It doesn't eliminate differentiation. In fact, it actually amplifies it. And the quality of the questions you ask becomes visible. The quality of your thinking becomes visible. The quality of your decisions become visible. AI is almost like an intelligence amplifier. Whatever is already there gets magnified. Strong thinking becomes stronger. Weak thinking becomes more obvious. That's why I don't think the future belongs to people who simply just use AI. I think it belongs to people who combine AI with curiosity, with judgment, with taste, with creativity, and also wisdom. Those things become incredibly valuable. I don't think the biggest opportunity is becoming an AI influencer or chasing tools. I think that it's becoming an operator, someone who understands the systems, the workflows, the people, the communication, the decisions, and the execution. Because businesses are drowning in complexity. They are undertooled, they are overwhelmed, and every company has information. Most just don't have clarity. Every company has meetings. Most don't have alignment. Every company has ideas. Most don't have execution. AI helps bridge those gaps, and that's where the value is. The person who understands the operations and then amplifies AI intelligently is incredibly valuable because they are not selling tools, they are removing friction. And businesses happily pay for friction removal. I think that most people are asking the wrong question. They're asking, how do I use AI? I don't think that's the right question. The better question is, what becomes possible because AI exists? That's different because now your thinking changes. What business could you build? What skills could you learn? What systems could you create? And what problems could you solve? What opportunities become realistic that previously just weren't? And that's where the big shift will happen. Because once AI becomes an infrastructure in your mind instead of just another application on your computer, you don't stop looking for features. You start looking for possibilities. And the possibility is where transformation begins. So here's what I hope will change after this video. Stop seeing AI as a chatbot. Stop seeing it as a software. Stop seeing it as just a productivity tool and start seeing it as a complete central operating system, a layer that helps you think, learn, organize, decide, build, and then execute. Because every major technological shift changes, right? And it has done for the last 100 years. But every so often, one comes along that changes how humans think about capability itself. And that's what we're going through right now. And I genuinely believe that AI is one of these moments. I don't believe it is 100%. And people who win won't necessarily be the most technical. They won't be the ones that understand everything and a brain whiz when it comes to AI and technology and coding. It's not like that. AI doesn't replace your human potential. It will expand it. And honestly, We're only at the beginning of this. And if that landed today, here's where you go next from this point. Stop collecting AI tools, yeah. Genuinely, stop it. Start actually building a system. And what we do at the Coach Consultant is we will build you one central operating system with Titan Code OS. And you get the copy and paste SOPs to set up your own independent Claude systems that's trained on your business that you have full management over. And that is predictable growth, because when you've got all of your KPIs, your vision, your feelings, your numbers, your data, and real-time information centralized into one place and you can communicate with it, that's going to be 1,000 times better than scattered Word documents and sheets and spreadsheets all over the place, which aren't even talking to each other. And that is exactly what we provide to our clients. So if you want to find out more about what we do, then hit the link in the description to apply. And I'd love for you to book a call and find out how we work.